and who has given us this opportunity and provided us with this platform to interact with you all. The topic for today's webinar is Hands-on, Minds-on, Common Challenges in Grade 12 Physics Practicals. Here our objective is to discuss some common problems that our students face during physics practicals. And I hope that the session is going to be interactive and beneficial so that we seek the solution to these problems. Dear colleagues, we all are educators here and we are all very learned people. So we are not going to teach you. Rather, we will learn from each other's experiences. As we know, life is ever learning process and we keep on learning the whole life. Friends, we all know that physics practicals, they are the backbone of physics education. So each one of us wants that practicals should be learning by doing for the students. And doing here does not simply mean that taking readings, doing calculations, or getting results, but it means that the concepts grasping and mastering of the concepts. That's why the topic is hands to be on and minds should also be on. So we want that practicals should be where theory meets reality. And this task, may be very challenging sometimes. This webinar aims to make these challenges manageable. So today we will be discussing about 5 to 6 experiments of class 12 that we generally take in the beginning. 4 experiments we will be taking from section A and 2 from section B. Here I would like to highlight the point that success in the lab starts before the students even touch the apparatus. So it is well said that well begun is half done. And here I would not miss the opportunity to pinpoint some excellent features in our lab manual named Hands-on Physics, a Practical Approach, which is authored by we 3 presenters. Alka ma'am, would you kindly show the front cover of our book? Alka ma'am, can you hear me? Yeah. This is our book. In this, you will find we have introduced some excellent features. One of the feature is do at home. That means after every experiments, we have tried to give some small activity related to the same experiment that the students can do at home. And the another feature is points to emphasize for extended learning and perfection in experiment. Here, I'm also overwhelmed to tell you about, rather disclose about a very unique and new feature that we are going to introduce in the coming edition of our book. It will be such that which is not available in any of other lab manuals of physics. Uh, and it will be very, very useful for the students. Of course, I'm not going to disclose what this feature is going to be. So friends, just wait and go through our revised edition, which will be coming shortly. Now to continue, yeah, this slide is of our, lab manual plus file that contains blank sheets also for the students to do the to write the experiments. So both type is available. That means file plus book and only the book. Now I would like to request Poonam, Dr. Poonam, to take over. Dr. Poonam.
Poonam ma'am, please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Vanda ma'am. Dr. Poonam Bharadwaj, HOS Sales Vijay Senior Secondary, Daryaganj, New Delhi, this side. Namaskar to all of you learned and experienced fellow. It's a very good platform just to share our ideas among us. I would like to share my observations as well as our thoughts regarding importance of practicals in education, first of all. So in my view, physics practicals develop generally the conceptual understanding, which is very important part of any education. And then critical thinking skills also develop scientific temper. And overall, applications in real life is very important part. Our second point is that common challenges students faces in lab work generally. So the most common challenges are errors. There are different kinds of errors, and that arises due to loose connection, personal error it may be, wrong order of steps we have taken in the laboratory or students. Then what are other errors that arises due to different kinds of factors involved there, and we get fluctuating readings. Then calculation errors we also face. So just think, all these make us very puzzling. Students wants to just give up, कि कोई नहीं, अब इसको छोड़ देना है, कुछ नहीं करना है. So the other important point is to focus on where do things go wrong. कहाँ गड़बड़ी हो रही है, इसको हमें जानना बहुत जरूरी है. And according to my view, there is the procedural misunderstanding. In procedural misunderstanding, we can take wrong order of steps, improper handling the equipments or the components which are arranged in the circuit. Then there may be faulty instruments also. Batteries may be dead, not in working conditions. After that, there may be data anomalies. In data anomalies, we can get unexpected readings, fluctuating readings, inconsistent results. And another point we can focus, that is the errors in measurement also. Like when we count the least count, it may be wrong, it may be not proper. Why? Because there are so many issues, like calibrations are not uniform, manufacturing error. Just you have seen, I think so, in parallax removal, there are so many calibrations that are very close to each other on optical bench. The uprights are not properly manufactured. I felt that uprights always create problem. There will be some inclination in a particular side, and that makes our lens or our mirror not in a right position. So these are some measurement errors. And after that, what are the third point is, what should be the right action plan to just overcome all these above said problems? Because after overcoming all these, we can get good results after all. So as a teacher, what should we do? So there are some steps just we have experienced in our laboratory while doing the experiment. So as a teacher, we should start small, begin with basic and simple experiments just to build confidence among the students. Second one is just do it very easy. How can you make it easier? So give some examples that correlates in daily life. Then explanation of that particular experiment should be very clear and concept based. And in hands-on and minds-on, just we have taken a very easy steps. So far as the procedure is concerned, it's very clear. What should we do after what? So these are the very important point as I felt in my all over time. There are so many mistakes, very small mistakes that makes students very puzzling. Thank you, Chetanji, for giving us this opportunity to share our ideas. Now I'm requesting our next speaker, Dr. Alka Gupta, to take over from me and continue the next part of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Poonam ma'am. Good evening, my co-fellow and everyone present here. It's my pleasure to explain something which can help you during the experiment, which can help your students to do the experiments neatly, clearly, and without errorless, actually. So coming to the point, as we are going to take only 5 experiments today, and rest of the experiments can be taken in the next webinar, next series of webinar. So here I am pointing out these 5 to 6 experiments, which are actually from section A, first 4 experiment, and from section B, first 2 experiments. So moving over to the first experiment, that is to find out the resistivity of 2-3 wires using Ohm's law apparatus. So before I start about the trick for taking these observation readings to help your students, do I know what problem are you facing during this particular experiment? Even though this is the easiest one experiment, I guess so. So I don't think there is as such big problems coming around when you are doing or explaining this experiment to your students. Still, if there is some or any issue that comes, so please let me know. Please unmute yourself and let me know what is the problem that comes around. If it is there. You can write in chat also. Swaroop, nice to see you here. Yeah, anyone? Or let me continue with my part if there is no problem. That means this is being done very nicely with all of you. So it's very good. Still, let me go to the few parts which will help you. Few tricks are there which can help you actually. The few focus points. First thing, as you can see, if there is any problem, we need to find out the resistance through VI graph only, not through the directly ratio of V and I, to which we are taking from observation of voltmeter and ammeter. So ratio of V and I will just give us the hint that our resistance through graph will come around to the same value which is coming through ratio also, mean of the ratios value. So here if you can see the points which are A, B, C, D, E, F, these are the points made with the help of observation through VNI, voltmeter and ammeter. So here, if you are unable, if your students are unable to draw a straight line because I can't find the 3 points on the same line, then what you need to do, draw a line using a scale, place the scale or draw a line in such a way that all the points are, in fact, if it is not coming on the line, they are around the line, which you can see in the next diagram. Here you can see it is like that only. Just a minute. In this, you can see it is a straight line which is around which all the points are lying there. The next point is just a trick. That is the wire of the length. If you choose the wire of the length as multiple of 11, it will be the calculation part will become easier, because the resistance is resistivity is resistance pi d square upon 4L. If this L is multiple of 11, so this pi, that is 22 by 7. So somehow we are making the calculation easier, or we can take the length as 31.4 centimeter, which is multiple of pi only. So calculation becomes easier. So that's a trick if you follow. It's good for a student. And other than that, sometimes you see there is not a difference in the reading taken by the ammeter. So it is better for you to choose milliampere in millivoltmeter in place of ammeter and voltmeter. Normally we have a meter and voltmeter of range 0 to 3 ampere or 0 to 3 volt. Instead, if we take the milliampere in millivoltmeter, we have multiple readings. In taking multiple reading during the experiment by just moving the knob of the rheostat, we can have many readings, and in these readings, if I get the ratio of V and I, from here you just choose some of the ratios are quite closer to each other. There is a difference of even 0.1 or 0.2 ohm difference is there. So that way, those all values can be selected, and rest of the values in which the resistance is coming quite different, or there is a difference of 1 ohm or more than 1 ohm. So neglect those all values, reject those all values, because we have taken so many observations. So select 5 to 6 observation, and rest can be rejected. So by that way, we will have a graph perfect, that is a straight line graph. So if the graph comes a straight line, student becomes happy. Okay, I have done correctly. Mera graph बहुत अच्छा आया. So it's a good thing. So these are the suggestions. And then one more important point here, for you might have actually following this point. So do not forget to remind the students many a times that during taking observation, they have to switch off the circuit or the current just after taking 2 or 3 readings to avoid the heating effect of resistance wire. Heating of the resistance wire, which will change the resistance value, and that will change the pattern of the graph. Then the graph will not come like a straight line.
Welcome, ma'am. Hello. Vandana, ma'am.
Hanji.
Sumati ma'am is asking a query for how to write scale.
How to write scale? Yeah, that you can see from the range of your voltmeter and your ammeter. Whatever is the range of your voltmeter or millivoltmeter or milliammeter, you have to choose the scale accordingly. If you are, say, taking an ammeter of 0 to 3 amperes, then you can choose the scale between 0 and 3 amperes. And it's better if you choose the scale in such a way that you are able to use the whole graph. Unmute yourself, Alka ma'am.
Yes. I'm sorry, the Wi-Fi, I have unmuted now. It's okay. So let me share. There is some problem. I have seen somebody is asking some question.
Yes, welcome, ma'am. Abhishek Mishra sir wants to speak something.
Yes, please. Abhishek ji, you can ask.
Abhishek sir, you can
Abhishek sir.
speak now.
Hello,
Hello.
good
Yes.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, the major problem in measuring of resistivity from Ohm's law is that if we have rheostat of nearly power 1.5 Ah, then there is instant increment in current as we change small resistance from rheostat.
Your voice is not able. Please come again.
Ma'am, the major problem is that if we sudden increase a small amount of resistance from rheostat,
Yes.
there is instant increment in current in
Yes.
ammeter
Yes. So-
near about. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think you are using the ammeter over there of range 0 to 3 ampere.
No, ma'am. I am using milliammeter.
Milliammeter. Then also there is a
That's fine.
Is
large
there,
change
ma'am,
in
is there
current.
effective of
Yes, yes.
is there effectiveness of using rheostat?
Yeah, because rheostat is required here to change the value of current in the circuit. Then only we will have different reading of voltmeter and ammeter.
Hello.
Yes. Am I audible?
What is the role of rheostat?
Rheostat changes actually the magnitude of current in the circuit. If you don't change the current
Yeah.
here in the circuit, the current through the circuit will
No,
change, then only the voltmeter reading will change. Am I?
that is known, ma'am. The problem I am asking that how much amount of rheostat should be used
Okay,
to
okay,
a
okay.
suitable reading.
It will be good enough to use this rheostat of not less than, not more than 10 ohm. 0 to 10 ohm or 0 to 1 ohm is sufficient actually. That also depends upon the resistance wire that you are using of how much length and how much resistivity. Basically, the length of the wire should not be long enough for this resistance wire. Then if you are using a rheostat of 0 to 1 ohm, that's sufficient.
Yes.
Because bigger value of resistance of rheostat will certainly affect the reading of current. That is ammeter. In that case, ammeter reading will not come as large, or very number of observation cannot be taken here in this case.
Welcome, ma'am. Sumati ma'am is also having a query.
Yes, sir. Please.
I'll just
Ah.
unmute her. Let us see.
You can ask. I am waiting. Are there any questions in chat?
Yes, Sumati ma'am is asking, should we write 1 centimeter or 1 unit is equal to some volts? Sumati ma'am, you can
In the scale.
you can speak.
Yes, ma'am. Namaste, ma'am.
Yes.
My doubt is 1 centimeter equal to 2 volt or 1 unit equal to 2 volt.
That depends upon the observation value. If you are using a millivoltmeter, then 1 centimeter as 1 millimeter will not. Actually, I must say, if you are using a voltmeter, then
Yes,
the
ma'am.
1 centimeter as least count value
Yes, ma'am.
will be best for using a scale. Whichever is the least count of your device, that
yes.
will be the value of 1 unit or one small
Yes.
point, one small point of the graph.
Okay, ma'am.
So that will be good for choosing the scale.
Because one person told me 1
Ji.
centimeter equal to 2 volt means it is not meaningless. So that you have to use 1 unit.
It could be chosen
equal.
any value, but it is better to use the scale like multiple of least count. You can take 10 or 20 also. That like 10 milliampere is equal to 1 unit of graph. That also can be taken. Depending upon the value of
centimeter we should write, ma'am. We have to use unit or centimeter, ma'am.
No, unit, just write that 1 unit. 1 unit is sufficient, not as a 1 centimeter. Better is 1 unit.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
10
much.
small box, you can also say. 10 small squares.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any other, please?
No, ma'am, you can continue.
Okay. So coming to the next experiment, that is meter bridge experiment. In this experiment, actually, there are 2 or 3 different points to which we need to focus. The first thing, use fractional resistance box, that is of 0 to 10 ohm resistance box. जो known resistance, whatever is the known resistance box we are taking, to choose each area 0 to 10 ohm, जिसमें आपका fractional that 0.1 ohm plugs are also available. Second and important thing, that is take the balancing length between 30 to 70 centimeter. Ask your student to take this balancing length. So many times I have seen in during the practical exam while taking the viva, when I see their practical file, they do take the balancing length as 20 centimeter, even 10 centimeter or 90 centimeter, which is certainly causing a error in the reading. The resistance does not came same for all the readings. There is a wide difference between resistance in one observation to the resistance obtained in the second observation, just because of there is a very wide change in the balancing length. And this balancing length can be actually manageable, can be handled just by changing the resistance from the resistance box. We can handle or we can obtain the balancing length as per our requirement. So we can take the balancing length between 30 to centimeter. And that should be an important point for precaution. Secondly, here also while we are taking the balancing length, the galvanometer, through galvanometer, we have to see that deflection is 0 in that, moving jockey all over the wire on the meter bridge wire. So it takes time during one single observation only. So here it is required to switch off the current once we get the balancing point. For a particular observation, when we get the balancing point, that is null deflection through the galvanometer, immediately we need to switch off and then we need to take the reading, whatever length is there. So this switching off on and off will be actually taken after every observation, so as to avoid again the heating effect, which will not deflect our reading. Otherwise, the resistance will come with a variety of value, not as a same value or constant value. It will have a very big difference from one observation to other one observation. And here one more thing is there, to avoid end error or to eliminate end error, what we need to do, you can see it, the resistance box in the meter bridge experiment, the unknown resistance wire in the first diagram I have placed in a right gap of the meter bridge. And in the second diagram, the same unknown resistance wire is interchanged and now it has been placed at the left gap of the meter bridge. Doing so, we can eliminate end error. And that is here, by doing so, you need to see here, the formula will also change. You can see the formula for the first part, that is when the unknown resistance wire is at the right gap, the formula is R 100 minus L upon L. When the resistance wire is in the left gap, the formula for the same resistance is RL upon 100 minus L. And here one more point which you can focus to all the students, that is an important question being asked in the CBSE or in the competitive exams. What happens when we interchange the resistance in the two gap? When the resistances in the two gaps are interchanged, what will happen? So we do know the length will interchange, that you can see in the formula. Here it is 100 minus L upon L, here it is L minus 100 upon L. For the same resistance in the table also, you can see the table. Take the observation as 1, 2, 3 only. For a particular resistance in the resistance box, when the resistance wire is placed in the right gap, this is the formula. When the left gap, this is the formula. You can see the length will be interchanged with a very slight change. As we are taking the practical, we are doing practical, there must be a slight change. Means 30 centimeter may be as 32 centimeter, 58 centimeter may be as 57 centimeter next time. Not with a big change. So that here by doing this experiment, and then when the student will see the length is being interchanged and the resistances are interchanged in the gap, they will keep in mind this, because while we say something, the receptance power is 50%, while we see something, receptance power is 70%, but while we do something, the receptance power is 90 or 95%. So student will keep in mind this thing, which will help them not only in practical exam, but also in CBSE board as well as in competitive exams. So is there any issue in this experiment to you? Any one of you, please let me know.
Ma'am, Abhishek Mishra is asking a question.
G.
What is the main reason that we get the opposite deflections at ends point at the screw connection position, but we are unable to find it at the scale nearly between 95 to 100 centimeter?
Okay, when the deflection comes as 95 to 100 centimeter.
Yeah.
The reason is actually what? As you can see, simply in simple language, if I say the resistance box in this first reading, in this first diagram, if you see the resistance box is in the left gap, and where the length L is also in the left side. So I can say this resistance value of the resistance value in the resistance box is actually proportional to the length L. That means if the balancing length is coming as 95 centimeter, that means the resistance which we have taken out from the resistance box is large enough. And that's why I told you to take the fractional resistance, which will have a value of resistance in decimals also. So reduce the resistance offered from the resistance box. You will see your balancing length will reduce. As you decrease this resistance, proportional value may the value of length L, or that is balancing length, will also reduce. If this length is coming very less, that is 10 centimeter or 12 centimeter, again you can change it, increase it by increasing the value of resistance offered from the resistance box. Was this your query or something else if I interpret
And one more
wrongly?
thing, he's asking how we can eliminate it.
How
Wait,
we can
yes,
eliminate it? Yes, by adjusting the resistance value from the resistance box.
I'm
And if
unmuting him. He's asking more questions.
please unmute and ask. I think I'm misinterpreting the question.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
we
Sir,
obtain the opposite reflections at A and
sir, your
C.
voice is actually not clear.
Is I am audible?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, we got the opposite deflections at point A and C easily.
Okay.
But the problem is that if we check the same deflection at nearly 98 or 99 or 100, the deflection does not available at the maximum range.
Okay. The deflection is
And
common and not coming as
and
maximum. Yes, yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Please continue. Complete your question.
Ma'am, even if we remove the rectangular sheet of aluminum or copper coil,
Yes.
if we remove the rectangular copper coil and again connect in the circuit, the problem is same as it is before.
Yeah, it is because of the actually the length of the wire, जो आपका the meter bridge wire length is having some extension, or it is because of the heating effect only, that might be extended extra length. So your meter bridge wire will not measure it with the scale and check it whether it is exactly of 100 centimeter. That is why the problem of end error I am saying you, and that can be actually corrected, or it can be just minimized by using end error, end correction. That is exchange the resistance. That is the only way, because in that case I must say the length of the wire, that is meter bridge wire, is not exactly of 100 centimeter. There is a problem in that length. It is extended.
But ma'am, between the terminal A and C, the length is exact 100 centimeter, as there is a meter scale.
At midpoint it is coming?
As there is meter scale between A and C, so the length is already at 100 centimeter.
Yes, that is a manufacturer layer. That's what I am saying. Actually, that 100 centimeter is not exactly 100. It is a little bit extended or because of the heating or something else reason or manufacturer error. And that extra length is causing the error in finding out the balancing point or in finding out the deflection at the two other sides, at the two end points. So there is a problem with the device. You just change the device and do it again with the another one. Is it occurring in that case also? This is a particular that device error, not with the every one devices. So the error is
Ma'am,
the length
can
of
we
the
use
wire.
a substitute? Ma'am, can we use a substitute by removing the copper coil and reconnect the battery directly at the end 100 centimeter?
Copper coil? No, I'm not getting copper coil or copper stripe. You are taking our
Strip, sorry, ma'am, copper strip.
copper
Sorry.
strip you are taking. No,
Ma'am,
if you
if we
remove
remove
the
the copper
copper
strip
strip,
connection and directly connect the battery at 100 centimeter.
then also there will be problem in because these connecting wires must offer some resistance. So that extra resistance will be
Ma'am,
added up in PQRS.
at that situation,
Right. So copper strip is required
the
between
deflection
these.
is as it should be.
Then deflection as it should be. That means your connecting wires are perfectly good enough. So they are not offering
I am
resistance.
connecting the battery terminal directly to the 100 centimeter.
So that might be possible. That is actually that's only I am saying. The problem is in that particular device, which we are taking the length as 100 centimeter, but it's not exactly 100 centimeter. One thing. Second thing, there might be some extra length which is actually used in winding is offering resistance also. That
Ma'am,
is
is the
why
method I am using is appropriate for the examinations
no.
as it is giving the ideal results?
Yeah. Actually,
One
this is
second.
how sometimes we have to made ourselves when we are doing the experiments. So whatever we are having, we have to cope up with that particular device and get the result. Try to get the result as per requirement, as per
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
actually it should be. Here, one thing I forgot to mention. As we are using here in this experiment, in the next experiment of meter bridge only, we are using two wires to verify the laws of combination. So overall, before this also, we are using the resistance, finding out the resistance using Ohm's law for 2-3 wires. So you can use this as a actually helping point only, that the wires given to student for the experiment number 1, then ask them to keep these wires, 2 or 3 wires, safe, to keep these wires safely with them, and tell them that these 3 wires will be used up for experiment number 1, 2 and 3 simultaneously. The same wire they are supposed to use. So when they have determined the resistance through first experiment, that is Ohm's law, that value of resistance would be approximately same as when they are finding out the resistance in this next experiment using meter bridge, or in the another one experiment in which they are going to verify the laws of combination. Again, they are supposed to find out the resistance. So same wires they are using. So somehow they are able to find out the error, whether the error was in this device or in that device. So you can also check out that very point. Where is the problem? Whether is the problem is there with the device or is the problem is there with the procedure, basically. So I suggest do this method. Find out the resistance of the wire using Ohm's law, and then find out the resistance using your default device, whatever is there, which you are saying that balancing length or null deflection is not coming properly. So check out that part. And I must say you change that device, or check out that whether the length of the wire, meter bridge wire, is exactly 100 centimeter or not. Problem is there only. The offered resistance is changes because of the change in length. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am, we can continue.
Okay. So coming to the next experiment, that is finding out the resistance of galvanometer and figure of merit using half deflection method. So here actually there is not a big problem in connecting the device. Still, as you can see, the plug keys are used in the main next circuit and as well as in the parallel circuit where the shunt resistance connected with the galvanometer. So it is good to show here in the diagram the place of the plug keys. But I suggest while doing experiments, you just avoid these two plug keys. Instead, you connect them directly. As you can see here, I have done here in the diagram, you can see I have taken the battery eliminator, the high resistance box, and the galvanometer. And this is the easiest circuit diagram you can explain to the student. Keep them proper one after other one, and then without checking out for the polarity also, they can connect it in a way without keeping in remembering the things. Start from the one terminal of the battery, go to the terminal of high resistance box, one terminal, the other terminal will go to galvanometer, and the next terminal of the galvanometer will go to battery. And this is how one to one is going to connect. All three devices are connected without any plug key. The role of the plug key can be played here by the infinite plug key in the resistance box. The lower resistance box, that is shunt resistance, will connect in the parallel with the galvanometer that you can see. Keep it in a parallel, that is connect one terminal of the galvanometer with the low resistance box, one of the terminal, other terminal will be connected with the other terminal of galvanometer. The simplest way of connection, that is simplest circuit diagram. Initially, you will keep on, before you start taking reading, you have to remove this infinite plug key from the shunt resistance, lower resistance box, as well as remove the highest resistance, that is 5000 ohm, I must say, from the plug key, and then switch on the battery eliminator. Infinite resistance from the lower resistance box, 5000 ohm resistance from the high resistance box is plugged out, and then switch on the battery eliminator. Because when you connect many plug keys, many elements are creating the chances of errorful readings. So here it is the table, and now let me come to the main point here. In the diagram, we will take the reading by taking infinite of the shunt resistance box out. That means this is not connected. You will take the reading of the resistance box in a way that the deflection in the galvanometer is coming as even value. Suppose for 30 degree, let me go take you to the reading here. The battery emitter is giving 2 volt. We have taken out the 2 volt here. For suppose this resistance value from the resistance box, the deflection in the galvanometer is comes as 30. Then half deflection says we have to make this deflection half. So we have to get the 15 degree deflection in the galvanometer just by adjusting the value of shunt resistance. And now we will insert the plug key, infinite plug key in the shunt resistance box. And take out few resistances just for trial only and see the deflection in the galvanometer. And if you see, we have to get the value of galvanometer deflection as 15. Suppose the deflection this time is coming as 5 only. I have taken out suppose 200 ohm here. I have taken out suppose 50 ohm here. And the deflection is coming as 5 or 10 only. Deflection is equal to 10. The resistance taken from the shunt is 50. So if I need to get the deflection as 15, I need to increase the deflection. So I will increase this shunt resistance value from 50. And by adjusted suppose for 95 ohm from the shunt resistance box, I got the deflection as 15. So this time I have taken out 95 ohm plugs from the shunt resistance box, that is low resistance box. Do not insert these resistances, these plugs again. So as this resistance is 95 ohm for 15 degree, that is half deflection only. Now for the next reading, take out the infinite plug key from the 5000, this low resistance box. That means this is not inserted. And now just take out the resistances from the resistance box, high resistance box, and see the deflection which is coming as even number. And you just note down these readings. You can see here the readings are for suppose I have taken 7900 ohm for 30 deflection. 95 ohm is showing as a 15-degree deflection, resistance of galvanometer coming as 96 after calculation. So what I say, do not insert back these 95 ohm. If you are now seeing the resistance deflection 28 for resistance 8400, when you insert the infinite plug key back into the shunt resistance, you will see the deflection in the galvanometer will automatically comes as 14, that is half, because you have already taken out this 95 ohm out of the shunt resistance. So my meaning of saying all this is this shunt resistance has to be coming same for all the value. So you can just set the first time trial and error base, you can just set the first time deflection coming as half for a particular resistance from the resistance low resistance box, and then leave it like that only. After that, you just plug out of infinite plug key and insert that one. Plug out infinite and insert that one to check out whether deflection is off or not. Then that means you need to note down these two readings only. Take out some resistance from the high resistance box and see the deflection in even number. If it is not even, you have to make it in an even number by adjusting the resistance from the high resistance box. Just for checking whether it is whether it is this shunt resistance for 95 coming as half or not, you just insert the infinite plug key in shunt resistance box. You will see whatever deflection was earlier without shunt resistance, now it is coming as just half. Whatever is that, it will come as half. And your value of resistance of galvanometer will just coming equal or almost same as that of shunt resistance. This is one checking point for yourself. You can find out the reading, find out, or you can ask the question of Viva, what will be, if they have not calculated this value of resistance of galvanometer using calculation, they have just taken these readings. You can just ask what will be the approximate value coming of galvanometer resistance. They must say it will be closer to shunt resistance. Or if they have done this calculation incorrectly, suppose it is coming as 200 or 100 or 195, like that, so you can immediately point out that this is incorrect calculation. It should not come like that. It should come nearly this one. And please check out or remind the students that the shunt resistance never changes in this experiment. Yes, any question to anyone?
Ma'am, we can even take the queries from participants if they have in any other practical as well.
So can we move away? Can we move ahead?
Because we are even closer to
Oh.
completing the session as well.
Okay. So over to Vanna ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Alka ma'am. Now coming to optics experiments. The first experiment is to find the value of V for different values of U in case of concave mirror and to find the focal length. Now, most of the students, the problem that they face, that they say image is not in the view, they are not able to see the image. Sometimes they say image is not clear, it is blurred. Sometimes they say we are not able to, the common problem here is they are not able to remove the parallax when they are using two needles. With single needle, single pen, they are able to remove the parallax, but with two needles, they are not able to. And then sometimes they are not able to understand how to find the rough focal length for the mirror. And then plotting the graphs also, sometimes it creates problems. Let's come to the next slide, ma'am. Alka ma'am. Please show the next slide.
Yes, please. Just wait, ma'am. Just wait. There is some issue. What's wrong?
See, first of all, if we have to make the image to come in view, for that you can see the mirror, concave mirror in the upright here, and the object needle here in the another upright. So what you have to do in the beginning, you have to bring the object needle close to the mirror. The two uprights should be touching each other, and in such a way that the tip of your object needle should be just at the height of center of the mirror. Okay, so you will be able to see the virtual image of the needle. Okay, that is when you move the needle away from the mirror, you will keep on seeing the image. The image will remain in view. So first of all, you have to start from here. You have to touch both the these uprights, and such that your object needle, it is touching the center of the mirror. I mean, touching means it's very close to the center of the mirror. And then start moving the needle away from the mirror, and slowly you will find that your image will turn into inverted image, that is the real image, so that your image will remain in view. So your first problem will be solved. And then secondly, image is not clear, right? For that, we should have an idea of rough focal length. So there are many ways to find rough focal length. One way is, very simply, you can take this mirror in your hand, okay? Place a scale close to your eye, and on that scale, move this mirror away from you. The moment you find that your eye image disappears, because when your eye is at the focus of the mirror, then the image will be at infinity and your image of the eye will disappear. So you can roughly measure that distance of the mirror from your eye. That will give you an idea of rough focal length. So once you have an idea of rough focal length of the mirror, then you can start the experiment with one needle. Keep on seeing the inverted image of the needle and try to bring the inverted image of the needle on the needle itself and try to remove the parallax. While removing the parallax, we have to keep one eye closed and we have to move your head sideways. Then the two tips, that is the tip of the image needle and the tip of the object needle, they should appear to be moving together. If they are moving, if they appear to be moving like this, then there is still a parallax. And for removing the parallax, you can ask the students to make use of the sideways arrangement that we have in the upright, and slight changes in the height of object needle or the height of mirror can be made. One problem arises here, error that arises here is because of index error. Index error arises because of, the actual distance between the center of the mirror and the tip of the needle and the observed distance that you can see in the diagram. It is shown here. The upper blue line is showing the actual distance between the center of the mirror and the tip of the object needle, and the observed distance is shown with a black line, and that you measure on the optical bench. And you will find that there is a difference in the two measurements or these two distances. If your observed distance is greater, then you have a positive index error and you have to subtract that extra value from your observed distance. And if it is less, then you have to add that value, right? Actual distance, how we can measure? For that, actually, we need a knitting needle with both the ends sharp, but most of the time that may not be available. So what we can do is we can make use of either an iron scale with say 30 centimeters length, or a wooden scale with say such a length, say 30 to 40 centimeters, which will give you an idea of your index error. So that is how we measure index error. Now the actual problem arises to remove parallax when we are using both the needles, that is object needle and image needle. So because both the needles in case of concave mirror, they are placed in front of the mirror only. So both the needles will be having their inverted image. So it becomes difficult to differentiate which image is to be brought on which needle. So to differentiate, you can see that we have placed a paper on the object needle such that the paper is piercing the needle and the tip is still free. I hope you can see. Ma'am is pointing on that needle, object needle. So the image that you can see with the paper, you have to focus on that image only. With the paper, the image that is seen is to be brought on the image needle and the parallax has to be removed. Now, one thing here we have to take care that image needle should be kept, beyond object needle when your object is placed between F and C. Once you have an idea of rough focal length, say if your rough focal length of the mirror is say 10 centimeter and you are placing the object needle say between 10 and 20 centimeters, then your image needle will come behind it, behind the object needle, means after the object needle. And when you are placing the object needle beyond C, that means beyond 20 centimeters, then the image is between F and C. That means your image needle will be closer to the mirror. That means it will be between the mirror and the object needle. So you should know on which needle you have to place this paper to identify or to differentiate. So trick here is, although we have to place all the three, that is the mirror, the object needle and the image needle to be in the same straight line so as to avoid the error. But if object needle and image needle, they are in the same straight line, it becomes difficult to get the image of the object in view sometimes, So what we can do is we can slightly make one of the needles to be either towards more right or towards more left, so that the two images, they are distinctly seen and we can focus or we can concentrate on our needle, that is on our object needle's image. And secondly, we can also make this, trick that height of one of the needles can be made slightly less or slightly more, again just to locate these two images well, because both the images will be seen and that will, make you puzzle that which image we have to focus on, right? So these two tricks we can make use of. That differentiation should be just slight, slight change in height of the two and slight deviation from the same straight line. Either make one of the two needles to be slightly right or slightly left. So this is what we have to do to remove the parallax. Index error we have already discussed. Now let's come to the graphs. Yeah, here the graph between U and V is to be plotted in the third quadrant, as both U and V, they are negative. One thing that we have to take care of here, that U and V should have the same scale. They should have the same scale, right? If you don't take the scale same, it becomes difficult to do the calculations, because to calculate F from this UV graph, what we have to do, we have to draw a line that is bisecting this graph, I mean from point O, making an angle of 45 degrees with x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and the point where it is intercepting on this curve, that is point A, you have to take the intercepts OB and OD, right? When U and V both are equal, that distance is 2f. When U and V both are equal, that means object distance and image distance, they are equal for concave mirror. That distance is 2f. Moreover, tan theta, tan 45 is 1. So these two intercepts will be equal. So OB and OD, they are equal. And that should be equal to 2f. And f will be half of it. You can calculate. So it becomes simple. And now let's come to convex lens experiment. It is simpler as compared to concave mirror experiment. Convex lens experiment also, we have to first find out the index error for both object needle and for image needle, and we have to apply the correction. So whatever distance you are choosing as actual distance, it has to remain same for object needle and for image needle. That means if you are choosing 30 centimeters, then it should be same for object needle and for image needle, and then see the observed distance. Right? And these are the graphs that you will draw for convex lens experiment between U and V. It will be in the second quadrant. U is negative and V is positive. And this graph between 1 by U and 1 by V will come to be a straight line. Of course, when we are plotting graph between U and V, many a times we find that students draw this line in such a way that it appears to be broken straight lines. So ask them to draw a smooth curve, freehand curve. They have to draw a freehand curve. And while drawing a freehand curve, it is not necessary that all the points should be on the curve, because experimental errors are always there. Try to incorporate most of the points on the curve, and even if all the points, they are not on the curve, it does not mean that the experiment is performed wrongly. So draw freehand curve and try to incorporate most of the points on the curve. So this is the idea. And for straight line also, as Alka ma'am has already told in first experiment, so we have to draw mean line. So again, here it's always not necessary that we get exactly all the points on the same straight line. So we have to plot a mean line. Okay, so that most of the points are close to the line. You have to extend this straight line in both the directions. The point where this line cuts y-axis at point A, at that point 1 by U is 0, so 1 by V is equal to 1 by F, and at point B where the line is cutting the x-axis, here 1 by V is 0, so 1 by U value is equal to 1 by F value. So from here, your F will be reciprocal of this 1 by U value. Moreover, one more significant point I would like to bring here, that while plotting 1 by U and 1 by V graph, the values of 1 by U and 1 by V, they are quite small values, 0.00 something it may come. Centimeter minus 1. So in order to plot them, with ease, what you can do is, say your value is 0.0075. So we can write it as 7.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. Fine. So that you can choose the scale easily, and you can plot your points easily. So that is the idea. So you can write these values in terms of 10 raised to power minus 3 centimeters minus 1. So the multiplied value that can be plotted, and on the x-axis and y-axis we can write into 10 raised to power minus 3. I hope I'm done. And in these two experiments, if you have any queries or any such problems which your students face, we can discuss. We are also open for questions from all the experiments that we have discussed. Because of the time constraint, we could discuss only few experiments today. And let's hope that in the coming webinars, we are able to discuss the rest of the experiments as well. And few more activities also we can take up, and investigatory projects also we can discuss. Thank you. So no queries from optics? You can share your own experiences as well. We presenters are waiting. You can raise your hands and we can unmute you.
I guess there is no problem.
I think, ma'am, it was very nicely explained. There are no queries right now. Should we
Yeah,
Should
I
we-
think
wind it up?
in wind up.
Poonam ma'am needs to speak anything, or you guys?
Anyone? Any of you? Any queries or any suggestions? You can contact us at these email IDs. Our email IDs are there. Alka ma'am, please show that slide. Yeah,
Ma'am,
don't worry about certificates. You
will
will
be
be
mailed to
getting
you.
on your email IDs.
Mm.
Yeah. These are the email IDs of we three speakers. You can reach us at these email IDs.
So, a big thank you, ma'am, to all our esteemed speakers, Vandana ma'am, Poonam ma'am, and Alka ma'am,
Thank
for
you.
sharing
Thank you very
your
much.
rich experiences and inspiring insights. Your contributions
Nice meeting.
have
Nice
truly
webinar.
enriched our understanding. A big thank you to all the participants for your active engagement. We hope to continue learning and growing together in future sessions. Thank you once again.
One is asking for any feedback form. So
For the feedback, you can just directly mail to the our on the Crimson Publications or on these three email IDs.
Yeah.
Come and just share it on the screen, the email IDs. You can just directly mail. And
Chetan sir, someone was asking about the certificates.
yeah, and the certificates will be mailed to you in 2 to 3 days. I hope you have all registered on the Google form that was provided. So we will be mailing you soon. And if you think that we should have, if you have any suggestions for the webinar, for the next webinar, you can send us that as well. We can take that topic in the next webinar. So thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
also. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm ending the session. Thank you.
Okay.